you don't give up. You just don't give up because you are going to fail and you have to be okay with failing, but you are going to be rewarded as well if you just keep with it.
You're attuned to the leading edge with Scent, the pulse of cricket podcast. I'm Scent. Every week we bring you the stories, insights, and moments that drive this beautiful game. So hit the subscribe button and let's get straight into it. Welcome to the leading edge with Scent. I have a guest today. To me, it's a special guest. Before I say the guest, I have this thing where I tend to talk about the guest, where like I first met the guest and how long I probably have known the guest. And today's guest, basically, we met at club cricket. He was still a player back in the day. He was doing a bit of coaching, but he was still more of a player. And I was more in the executive parts of the club cricket, but we had a good working relationship. I met him, and he was one of those people where I thought he was quite serious with his cricket. So it's no surprise that today he's actually a double winning assistant coach for Western Province. And I'm going to call him a friend, but for now, it's out to Coach Parafini. Coach Parafini, welcome.
Thank you so much.
How are you, But?
I'm very well, thank you. And
Yes.
thank you for these kind words.
Yeah, man. So, Coach, before we go back, when you first ate that cricket apple white hand at the spot, before we even go there, how does it feel to actually win? Is it still a surreal moment? Is it because you've done well with the Western Province under 19 side, but now you've won at senior level the T20 and the One Day Cup. How does it feel?
Feels really good. The ladies have worked really, really hard to get to where we at the moment. And it feels, I don't know, when you look at what happened at under 19 and you compare that with what happened just now, it makes you feel a little bit more happier to actually finish a season this way. Yeah.
And I actually get it in the sense of, I remember I was actually, I followed the SA under 19 week, and I was like, hey, coach is probably going through it. Because I remember you guys lost the first match, but like the thing is, it was a close one. And then I'm like, hey, this team is actually better than this. Like, I know, And then I think day two as well. But now the question was, then the T20s. In the T20s, the teams actually did well. And my thing was like, I thought this team would do better in the 50 overs. And, I'm thinking, because how you deal with that? Because, again, it's games after game after game after game.
Yeah, it was difficult to deal with because you know what they were capable of and what they were showing were two different things. And you look at the senior women's team throughout the seasons, the T20, we were blessed and go away with it quite early. But the 50 over game, we always start and struggle a little bit. And I think that the under 19 showing was, was quite similar to what we're experiencing at senior women's team. Depressing, yes, but
Learning
to be
experience.
fair, it was an experience to learn, yes. And there was weather here and there, not making excuses for them, but there was a bit of weather around as well. So it is what it is.
It is what it is. Okay, cool. After this intro, I think it's time we actually take it back. Right. Cricket, when did you start with it? How did you start with it?
I'm an old man.
Yeah.
It was started quite a long time ago. I was in primary school. A teacher just came up. What were we doing? Sub A? I don't know what sub A is. Grade 1.
Grade 1.
Yeah, we're doing that. And the teacher just came up and said, there's a new sport, cricket. would you guys, all the boys, those who are keen, get up? And we got up and got out of the class. And I wasn't particularly good in soccer as well, so I thought, let me try a new thing, and that was it. We had I remember we had a couple of sessions with the teacher. Teacher was Ngimba from Ekukuletu. And then like weeks later, Cyril Chidi came through to teach us the game. And from there, I never looked back.
To this date.
To this day, yeah.
And I know you as a batter. New terms, not batsman, batter. But you are a wicketkeeper batter by trade, or do you view yourself as a wicketkeeper batter? Because there's a question that comes in with it.
I viewed myself just as a batter.
Yeah.
Tried to dabble with everything around the game. I did wicket keeping. I did a bit of spin as well, just like everyone else in the game. And yeah.
Which one did you enjoy the most?
I enjoyed the batting part. As frustrating and as painful as it may have been at times, I still enjoyed it.
Yeah. So with e-coaching, does it become easier to coach batting because you were a batter? Or it depends on each person?
I would think it depends from each person, because the other way of looking at it is, as a batter, who are you focused more at? You focused at the bowlers. As a bowler, you are focused more on what the batters do. So you probably learn more about the bowlers than you do with the batting. But then again, you relate a little bit better with the batters. You are more sympathetic, if that's a word to use, and you be more understanding and more patient with the batters, because you understand where they're coming from, because you've been there yourself. And at times you get a bit of credibility because you've done this before, so you are worth being heard.
Okay. And then coaching, right? So you're playing, and what made you get into coaching?
Back then, Kailicha Cricket Club had under Cyril Chidi, had a policy that as a senior player, you had to do something for the club. Because remember, we didn't have subs or anything like that, but you had to do something for the club. And the easiest thing for me, being a loud and talkative person, was to try and get into coaching. I had my under 10 group that I had to coach. That was my responsibility. And the principle was, whatever that has been taught to you, you teach to them. So if you run into any issues, you run to Coach Cyril Chidi at the time. And that's how I started. And from there, I got into courses and through Western Province and the club and then.
Okay. And because those that do know Coach Cyril, he's a good coach. So under him, what did you learn from him?
Sure. Proud of what you do, proud about yourself, is where you come from. Every time you walk into cricket field, it's a privilege, not your right, a privilege. So as a result, you should care about everything. Every ball that's bowled, every ball you're bowling, you need to care. You need to pay attention, and look after each other. That's pretty much what we've been doing for all of our lives.
Is that also part what you, as a coach, you want to put into your team culture? Because I presume each coach has things that they are good at. Yeah. And obviously you want to mold team culture based on your strength as a coach. So is that one of those things that you put within team culture?
That's a bit of a tough one, because at times you have to suspend yourself from yourself as a coach, because the idea is to serve the other person. It is not about you. it is about the players, and it is about the team, not you. So at times you have to suspend your thoughts and beliefs, well, your thoughts, and then from there and see what works for the player, for the particular individuals in front of you. And one thing Utazu has done, Cyril Chidi,
Yeah, I
has
know that
done
was fine.
has enabled me as a person to thrive and get opportunities all over. And that's what I wanna be going forward, to be the person who enables people to be a better human beings and better cricketers when they've come across a person like me.
And that's would it be safe to say that's actually part of your coaching philosophy?
Yeah.
Because that's one thing that I tend to struggle with. Like, what's a coaching
So,
philosophy?
yeah. So, yeah, it's part of, because it's what I carry with me every time. It's what I lean towards every time when I get into a coaching situation. What can I do to serve? What are my non-negotiables? What am I what am I giving here more than what am I taking away from here? Taking away would be to take away so that I can give better next time, if that makes sense
Yeah,
at
yeah,
all.
yeah, yeah.
So yeah, that's just about it.
So you start with coaching under 10, which is the boys. And at some point you do coach the girls. All right. How is there a difference, or there is no difference? It's just a matter of a player, or at this specific age, there's a difference.
There is a difference.
Yeah.
As much as we would like to think that there isn't, but there is. If we were to talk about a girl, a typical girl coming out of Kailicha and a typical boy coming out of Kailicha, chances are that boy will be outside playing, and being active. And the girl will probably be indoors, and looking after the family and doing the all motherly things
Yeah,
or
yeah.
female things. And when they decide to be active, when they decide to come into the game, they're a little bit behind compared to
The boy.
the boy. So you tend to take a little bit longer, even though they grasp better than the boys and quicker than the boys. You do have to be a little bit more patient with them compared to the boys, and the language you use it is very crucial when you speak to them compared to the boys, because they listen and then they take in stuff, and then they go away and they come back with questions. Boys, at times you have to repeat yourself time and time and again, and and sometimes what you say doesn't have doesn't work today. It may work like sometime in the future.
Yeah, yeah.
Whereas the ladies, the girls are more receiving and more understanding, and they're more inquisitive. They do ask why and how can I do this better compared to the boys. The boys will do it because you said it,
So you are part of the Western Province senior side, right? When did this start? When did you start being within the senior team setup, or how did it even start for you?
Yo, so if I have to think about it. Well, back in the day, Western Province under 19s and Western Province women trained together
Okay.
at Old Mutual, if you remember.
Yes, yes, yes.
And I think the journey started then, and I was always interested to see because I was part of the under 19s, and I was always interested to see the progression from under 19 to seniors. And I've joined them in a couple of sessions, and I've joined them for a bit of time, not being employed or anything like that, just someone who wants to learn. from the coaches that were there. And when Coach Clay was in India and there were players that needed to be helped, the national players that needed to be helped, I was called in because she wasn't around, and I did that. And then there was talk that there will be an opportunity of this nature. And then,
To group both ends.
yeah, because it was a space I was always interested to be in. So I threw my application in.
And the rest is history.
So as they say, the rest is history.
What made you want this specific space?
Just to see the progression, because you see players at under 19 and then you get excited, and then at times you don't see them again, and at times you see them on TV, the next thing. So I wanted to be part of that progression. I wanted to be part of seeing where and how these people transition from under 19 to senior women's place. And as my growth as well as a coach, because you can't really stay in one position all over and over again. And I don't know if I can say this, but one of the things we tend to do as township coaches is that we are happy to coach these players up until they reach a certain level, and then once they reach Western Province level, then we back off. And then when we back off, they get into change rooms that don't have you in it, that don't have, that don't understand them as you would have.
Yeah.
So they don't get to have an advantage or better understood by the environment.
Yeah.
That's there. So I wanted to be part of the environment that enables them to
See someone like them.
to be free, because there are things, to be free.
Yeah. Okay. Talking about that, as because you spoke about a goal coming from a Kailich, 10 years old. But now I probably moved to your 13, 14, 16-year-old girl who's coming through a Kailich. Now, when I say Kailich, I mean any township.
Yes.
We see them at national weeks, and I'm talking about more specifically this province. And then they go to under 19, and then from under 19, they move on to seniors. But we are struggling so far to see more of them coming out as batters. Is this a situation where maybe, is it during the winter? Maybe at Cape Town, it rains a lot, so they can't necessarily be outside and practice. They can't afford indoor facilities. I know Gary Kirsten has indoor facilities, but it's still new, where we have someone, for example, the women's side, Yandiswa Manuel. But again, she had a good season. I still feel she still has that season. It's still coming, And then you have younger players that probably come after her. Your Akona,
Wolindo Paki.
yes, all these youngers, including Ulisa Kanya, who's in Joburg now. But they just not breaking that ceiling, Is it a situation where it's coming, or is it a situation where it's preparation, or Siletwana winter?
It's difficult. Is it the coaching they're receiving as well? We're probably not as equipped as we could have been as coaches. I don't know. That's the honest answer, because all of these factors you just mentioned are quite, you're right in mentioning them because they're there. But then if you consider the fact that you just said, Gary Kirsten has indoor facilities in Kailicha, and they've been around for how many years now?
At least 4. Probably more than that.
Then that takes that excuse out of the way for now. I don't have the answer, because if I did have the answer, then we would have. Vuyani Parafini is coming. That season is coming. One thing about She has a great work ethic. She loves the game, and she will work hard. She will do everything that's possible to be better. Akona, I'm not going to talk about person
Yeah.
because there's individual dynamics that one has to look at,
Okay.
you know. But we're still looking for answers. To be honest.
You know, ngokuthetha ngoYandiso, I know I'm the one that brought her up, but there's something that began like Tringa. I was like, you know what? There's Yandiso, right? And then there's Uvez. And Uvez did well, especially in the Pro 20. I saw Yandiso probably one day as a coach. I feel like she has it in her. And now I'm actually speaking from like the outside looking in. And then I see Uvez as someone who's probably a manager. She just has that vibe. But like, nah, she'll be like a nice manager, you know. That's how I see him. As much as maybe if they did coach at some point, maybe under 16 or under 19 at some point, and seniors, Uvezi can probably be that bowling coach or giving advice, but she just gives me the manager, and then the other one gives me the coach because she's going to be strict. She has that element of strictness in her. Yeah, that's just my 2 cents in those two.
I can agree. I agree with you on that. Yeah, that's quite accurate. As far as I know them, that's quite accurate. Viz is quite laid back. She's not going to be out there and yelling at people. Yandis, on the other hand, she's going to have boundaries and she's going to make sure that you understand pretty clearly. And she loves people. They both love people. I think you're quite accurate. And then I hope to see it one day.
Yeah. There's a player that I like, who Lilith. Lilith is one of my favorite players in cricket. And when it comes to Yena, and my other player that I do like is actually, funny enough, is Uzama. For different reasons.
Both,
and for different reasons, because Lilith is naturally talented. Yeah, well, Uzama gives me that Graham Smith type of situation where she has to graft. The other player, so you have your Onya as well. You have your Lisa, and they give in a lot, but those two are probably my favorite in terms of one, just pure on talent. But my issue with Lilith, she's a reluctant leader. She commands leadership, but she's so reluctant with it. And you ask yourself sometimes by like, why? Like, in the sense of when players are like that as a coach, for example, do you like take the leadership? Or if you're phone, it's fine. Okay, if you don't want to lead the team, don't lead the team. Like, how do you tackle those things as a coach? Because I say this, sorry, coach, based on it trials, for example, right? So what I like to do at trials, I would like to every match, I like to give a different person captaincy, just to see how they take it. And really later, you try and give it to her, and she'll be like, no. But here's a funny thing.
When she steps over.
When she steps over in that match, she's captaining the side. So, I think as a coach, how do you motivate or suggest to a player, maybe, I would like for you to play this role in the team, and maybe they may be reluctant? How do you?
One, give more opportunities of that nature in a probably more or less pressured environment. Ulilita does that. She maybe not like the term that you, the captain, she will take over though. When she doesn't, she will speak up on the field and she will lead effectively, but wouldn't want the tag that I'm the captain. Part of that means she doesn't want the accountability that comes with being the captain, and the pressure that means we are looking at you for leadership. We're looking for you for example, for a good example. So maybe these are the fights I have with her every day. And to be quite honest with you, I do not have a way that you can actually enforce it, because part of leadership you have to want to be a leader,
Yes.
because it's not an easy gig, because if it's forced upon you, then there's going to be issues. So part of me feels like we still have to convince her that she's good enough. We still have to convince her that she can handle the accountability of it. It's
It's an interesting one.
yeah, it's difficult.
And because I'm asking this in the sense of players are always have different roles, and maybe at their club, umuntu mhlambi opens a batting and stuff, and then at provincial level, they may not be that. And sometimes that whole transition where a player comes in first as a batter, and then as they grow older, they become stronger and they end up becoming a pace bowler. Maybe they were also like a batter who bowls some off spin, but now they're a bit. So there's always transition. How do they?
I think it boils back to what I said earlier, where if we're looking specifically at the township space,
Yeah.
is that as coaches from the townships, we're happy to coach them and then hand them over and then step aside. But then they always come back to us when they run into trouble. So a coach at the provincial setup may see her this way, and then you see her this way, and then the two of you are conflicting over this person. You end up confusing her. Whereas interactions between these two entities for the sake of this one individual, which should be the child, the player. How do we both serve the player better? Do you understand? So this is where I'm calling for the coaches to engage with the coaches at provincial setups, because that way, if we both talking the same language, we stand a better chance of of serving her the best. Yeah, because you look at, if you go into the men's space, everyone in the townships knows that Michael Mbongwane is a batter. Spend a lot of time, batter who can bowl, all-rounder. Batter who can bowl. Yes, his structure suggests that he's going to be
a fast bowler. But
growing
Bono Jason Holder, though.
He could bat.
Yeah,
He's
yeah.
always known he could bat. But at Province was used more as a
Bowler,
bowler,
yeah.
purely a bowler who would bat whenever a crisis came.
Yeah.
You know, we just need to interact a little bit more, and understand that maybe the club level and provincial level are two different things, and that we have to have that understanding. And then maybe if we interact better, then maybe we can serve the player a little bit better. And don't know if I can say this as well. The gap between club cricket and provincial cricket is quite
Big.
big. And I know Western Province at the moment is working hard in finding ways to bridge that gap. But it would have been nice to have something where you fall back into, if you're coming from a provincial setup, and if you're coming from the club, there's a step that helps you to move up a little bit.
And is it one of the reasons why it's so hard, I guess, for the provincial setup coaches maybe to look at stats at club level to be like, okay, cool, that's the next person? Because we more look, I think, at the moment in terms of talent. Okay, this player is talented. Maybe we should drop that person, more than looking at the stats itself from club cricket.
Because the stats at club, not disrespect intended,
Yeah.
but sometimes the stats at club cricket may be misleading, because you may be dominating and the numbers speak well, but maybe the opposition you're facing is not as
Up to the standards.
to the standard that you should then be looked at as a provincial player. Hence, you need a bit of call it an incubator, where we say, yes, you're talented. you've got these numbers. So here's the next step for you. Let's see you here. And then from here, we can go up.
More like a Colts for the Jet.
Yes, vibes
Yeah.
where you play. And then where, if you are then maybe dropped from the provincial setup, maybe poor form, you have a place where it's going to catch you. And then when you can work your way back into the team instead of going all the way down to club cricket. Just as an example, player gets dropped from the provincial team, avails herself for club cricket, and they go and play a game. They lose the toss and they bowl first. They end up chasing 13 runs for the game.
Yeah.
See, those things, one, the player feels like they've wasted their time. Two, they haven't got anything out of that particular weekend. And it's just not one weekend. It may be a couple of weekends. Whereas provincial cricket is moving on without you. It's difficult.
And actually that is a situation where I can say probably almost all the provincial setups are having that problem.
All.
I'm saying probably all, because I'm looking in the Western Cape, for example, take provincial side like Poland. Poland, you have 6 teams in their Islanders.
In the club cricket.
In the Premier League.
In the Premier League.
In those 6 teams, 3 are really good. And there were 2 that were really good, and then 1 was split in half. So now you can imagine. But it is what it is. And then you have SWD. SWD is a good team, but it's strong because of all the players that they have bought. It's not from their pipeline or signed. So here's what I'm saying. I feel like it's one of those situations.
Yeah, it's one of those situations, and it's tough. But what can you do? But at the same time, you have to appreciate. You have to appreciate what's been done at club and school level, because if you look at the under-19 side, under-19 side is a proper side. Barring results, yes, but I look at them and I get excited about what they can do and what they have done in the past. And it has been, it's been nice to see players of, look at Kayla Reneke as an example.
We're going to talk about her.
Oh, we were.
We're going to talk about her.
For the longest of time. We are going to talk about her for the longest of time. And there's a lot of them. Look at Jaylee.
That's my favorite wicketkeeper in the country.
J.M.R. Potters of this world, even the Kelseys of this world. Those players are a result of what has been done here. But what I'm calling for is something right up here. So it's not all bad. There's good that's been. There's improvements that are out there.
Now, as we shift, we kind of talk about the development side now. You spoke about Kyla. There's your likes of Caitlin, and she did so well in her last few. And obviously, I think she was returning from injury as well. She did well. And then there is the young Mia. Uchema, I guess she has an injury at the moment. And there's all these players that are popping from this provincial side. For you as a part of the coaching staff, not just you itself, but coaching staff, how do you guys manage these players? Because for example, right now, season is finished. Contracts are probably being decided. Teams need to be decided who is going to be in the team, who's not in the team. Hard decisions. Western Province right now, you guys have some strong young players. You have your Caitlin, Kayla, Gemma, injured. One of my favorite players in the world is Jaylee. My story with Jaylee is that I think with Jaylee in the future will be the number 1 for South Africa. And I think Karabo is going to be not the number 2, but the batter, probably batting at 4 or 3, playing purely as a batter. That's just my take. Yeah, in the sense of her being black African, I think just her concentrating on the batting, I think will do her much better. Ujayli, as the wicketkeeper, she bats at 5-6. I think she has the capability of batting that 5-6-7. So that's the future. So so there's Ujayli. And there's more young players. I can think even from some players at UWC, some players at Mutual, so that are there. Umiya is there. How do you guys manage this situation? Because some players are probably not happy. Some players may be happy. Some players have to move on and go to the other unions, because again, you're the good coach, Coach Paras,
I don't know about that.
So now, sadly, around about this time, there's certain players who won't get Tilandoza, but on top of that, some players will get to play in the senior team. So how does that work at this level? I'm going to call it a high level.
Well, firstly, you have to you have to appreciate the work that's been done to have these players. I mean, if you consider what Coach Claire has done to have these players here at this level, it's a remarkable story, and it's a story that one may need to put out there and for everyone to see. I suppose it is professional sport when it comes to these contracts and people having to move on. And I mean, it's not a new thing. If you look at the country in itself, if it's full of Western Province people, who had to go elsewhere to actually get an opportunity, because Western Province is full of this talent that we have. It's a difficult one. Tough decisions have to be made, and this is where I'm the assistant coach.
And
so I'm very good. I'm very happy to be, because it's not on the line. It's Coach Claire. It's Coach Claire's problems.
And I think that's where, again, we go back to the whole notion where we hope like there's some academy that maybe CSA can recruit, especially for the top 6, each top 6 side, or top 8 or something like that. I hope there's a top 8 at some point, just like there's a top 8 for the gents, where there's these academy sides where they look after specific players, where we don't necessarily lose them in the system. Because at some point I had Coach Jamal, and I was saying that another thing is that we have, like with our universities or tertiary institutions, is that they don't necessarily give out bursaries, or there's not really cricket in most of them, and that could have been a way as well to also keep them, specific players within the sport, But you hope that they become ambassadors for the sport as well, because another conversation I had with there's a conversation I had, and I was like to the person, like, certain players that do love cricket, and maybe they don't play cricket past tertiary, they become big marketing executives or something, and then you hope that maybe they come back and they actually be the ones that actually give those sponsors. It's like, I'm the one that's running stuff now, know. So in that sense, I was trying to say, like, yeah, the cricket way is not necessarily just being a player. Some might be lawyers, because again, there's not much women who are agents. Even in the broadcasting, you see it's still the males that run the broadcasting. So you hope that more and more of these opportunities, they take them, be it physio, be it team doctors, including executives, because again, I'm talking about board seats. And I know we're not going to talk. We're not going to talk about that, but like, even we talk about board seats, at club level, You know, I know my union, last time I checked, we still didn't have a, a board member, a non-independent, a non-independent board member that's coming from a club. You know, all the women, they tend to come to be independent board members. So people from outside cricket. You know, so you hope these things at some point, these players that do play the game as they get older, you know, mature, and they come in and they
and
help.
and help and invest in the game themselves, so the future it's a little bit better for the younger ones.
Yeah.
I get where you're coming from, but we hope.
Yes.
We hope, because one thing I am enjoying at our women's space is that a lot of our players are investing in their futures in education. I mean, talking about lawyers, Leah might just turn out to be a lawyer very soon, and she's working hard. I mean, for her to be able to balance life like that, it means after her international career, she will be able to plow back into the game in a more managerial or
Hopefully.
hopefully, yeah.
Hopefully. And on that note as well, coach, again, your guys' season was spectacular. It had it was like it was like I was watching like Bold and the Beautiful at some point, in the sense of it was a soap opera. Look at it this way. You guys came in, right, reigning T20 champs, Pro 20. And last season you guys didn't get beat. The last time you guys got beat in the Pro 20 was by the Lions. And that was like a season before that. And the team that broke that streak, it was the Lions. So don't tell me this is not Bold and the Beautiful, you know? And the week after that, or 2 weeks after that, you guys play the Dragons, you know? The Dragons are struggling. They do the double on you guys at home, you know? But yet, you guys obviously had qualified for the Pro 20 final. Took you guys to win them, I think, the match against the Dolphins to actually make the Pro 50 final as well, to secure it. And you meet the Lions. Now, the Lions that broke your guys' streak at home. And what you guys did was Nibaikush twice in a row. So that's you. They beat them twice, basically, in the final, because both finals were in the Pro 20 and the Pro 50. It was the Lions versus Western Province versus the Lions.
Yeah.
So you guys had a double celebrations.
Still wrong. Still can't believe it. Like I said earlier, beautiful. What's amazing is when you have the caliber of player that we've got, anything is possible. I mean, yes, we did take a hiccup here and there, but some tough chats were heard, and the result of that became
The final
the
end product.
Yeah, the end product was the two finals that you ended up with. Very competitive people, winners. They're actually winners. When they don't take losing easily, they go, yeah, it becomes, it becomes like bloodbath of some sort.
Yeah.
The scrutiny of the loss, you know, and they're not overly, as much as I'm calling it a bloodbath, they're not overly excited when things don't go their way. You know, they do have a measure as to, this is what went wrong. This is what we can do to sort it out. Let's move on.
That culture, is it a matter of, because there's so many experienced players in the team, you have your Lara, you know, if she's not part of the Proteas side, she's there playing. Even someone like Oluhle, you know, Oluhle has played for the SA under 19. So she may understand a bit of that, being a senior player, because she was a captain in that side as well. You also, that team, I can go on and go on and go on. Because even Tatum LaRue, because I feel like Tatum LaRue is one of the hard players.
Tatum LaRue is a senior player. So in fact, the whole changing.
There's Utane.
There's Faye Tunnicliffe. There's a whole lot of them, you know. The captain herself, you know.
What type of captain is she? Chilled, or she tells people?
She's chilled up until a point where people are just not doing what they're supposed to be doing, and then she lets them know.
Yeah.
You cannot doubt that from her. She will let you know. She will
Yeah.
let the team know as quickly as possible. And then one thing I enjoy about her is the ability to let stuff go. You know, when you have a loss,
Yeah.
and then it wasn't great, she'll say, and then she's expecting the team to deliver from there. She doesn't harbor on it the whole time and get it into a nasty environment. She will say what she needs to say.
Very much matured.
Yeah, very measured. She will say what she needs to say and then wait on the results.
Makes sense why Coach Clay made her captain quite early.
She saw something special.
Special, yeah.
Definitely.
And then as well, Kayla. She was hitting sixes against Pakistan. She was hitting sixes against New Zealand. But not so long ago, she was at under 19 trials playing against people her age, and she was hitting the same type of sixes there. So that is just like, while others are seeing it for the first time, it's something that she's used to.
Doing.
And would you say that that's how players should be, in the sense of there's no need for you to change? You need to just play you, be that version that you want, so that it becomes second nature.
And your job is to try to be the better version of yourself every time you engage with the game.
Yeah.
She has been Kayla for the Kayla that you knew until the Kayla that you're seeing. There's no two ways about it. She's been the same person, but who has actually grown and matured. And the results you're seeing right now, she's not coming in and blasting you from ball one. She's what does the team say now? Oh, they will gooi millies, but smart millies.
That's a good one. That's a good one. Coach, thank you again for pulling through.
Worries.
It was actually a pleasure. I hope you come again. Maybe before the season starts, or maybe when you win another double. You don't know. But do you have your last words, like in terms of advice? There's a kid who like cricket, or who may have lost hope. He's thinking, maybe I should stop play this game. Do you have words for them? And do you have one who wants to probably coach? How do you start? The thing is, the way you started was not conventional. You were like, let me just. You put yourself out there.
I think cricket is not easy. It's not an easy sport. It's a very funny sport. You have to love it.
Yes.
For one, you have to love it, and then if you do love it, you don't give up on it, because once you appreciate it and give your best in it, it has a way of rewarding you. It has a way of giving back to you. It may not give back to you right now. It may give back to you later, as long as you keep going and you're doing what you need to do. Listen to your coaches, obviously, but don't do as other players do. They just listen and do as they are told. Ask, speak, engage the coach. Try and understand why they're speaking, why they're saying what they're saying, because it motivates the coach as well. Because if you're going to say, do this, and the person does that, you are happy with that, yes. But then there comes a time where you have to be on the wicket yourself. And then now you're leading the coach to be on the side to tell you exactly what to do, because you haven't allowed yourself to understand exactly why we're doing what we're doing. I think your why is very important. You don't give up. You just don't give up, because you are going to fail, and you have to be okay with failing, but you are going to be rewarded as well if you just keep with it. There are people out there who are willing and able to help where you need help. If you look at the hub system, you can go to any primary school and find out, any high school, and find out how you can get involved with the game. The clubs all over. you can get involved. Call the union and find out. Sure, someone at the union will be able to tell you where to go if you're looking for a place to play. Learn the game and play the game.
Learn the game, play the game. Those are the words that we end with. Thank you again for listening. Again, Coach Parafin, thank you for pulling through.
So if I'm coming back again, I have to bring Coach Linton, who's being a superstar in our coaching team at Province. Sima Werner, our CNC coach, Uyuza Gani, our physio, and Coach Clay. And then we can have a whole
panel
here. And then you can have answers to your questions from different perspectives.
With what you just said, right? I'm just going to look at my producer, Ewa. My producer, Ewa. You heard that.
I'm excited.
Ewa, you heard that. Again, Coach, man, thank you very much.
No worries, and thank you for having me.
Yes. That's it with Scent, Leading Edge with Scent. We had a special guest, obviously, at Roundly Podcast Studio. And do us a favor, please do subscribe. And we are out until the next episode. Enjoy your cricket. Thanks for tuning in to the Leading Edge with Scent, the Pulse of Cricket podcast, proudly produced by Roundly Podcast Studio in partnership to bring you the stories and the voices of cricket. Until next time, stay on the leading edge of the game.